the one, the only, Bencio Land. Good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube, ideally speaking, as we continue this Hashkafic Shir about the 10 really dumb mistakes that very smart couples make. We're beginning chapter 8 this week. It's titled Learning to Live Together. It's a pretty long chapter. As always, I divided it into two parts. We're going to deal with the first half of the chapter today. He talks about, according to him, this is the third step in marriage. First is commitment. You have to commit to each other. Then you have to love each other, or at least find ways to try to love each other. And then the hardest part of marriage is learning to live together. He has an example over here. He starts off the chapter with somebody who he's saying after Moshe has been married for about 6 months, as he makes his way home after a long day, he says to himself, Baruch Hashem, I married such a put-together woman, not one of those flighty, emotional wrecks. She's grounded and intelligent and fun to be with. I am so fortunate. He opens the door of his apartment, walks in, and sees his put-together wife standing on a chair screaming, Sarah, what's wrong? There, over there, what is it? Here, she shrieks, pointing at the ground. Over there, he looks, what? There, what? There, what? Ah, cockroach. Do something. He looks up at her on the chair, then calmly walks over to the cockroach, stomps on it, and says, you can come down now. He's thinking, grounded, put together? But he doesn't give too much thought to it. 2 weeks later, he's in the base medrash learning, and his phone rings. It's his wife. Moshe, what happened? Is everything okay? No, please come home. But I mean, I'm in the middle of learning. What happened? There are 2 of them. Please come home. He hangs up the phone and says to himself, I don't believe it. She wants me to leave the base medrash to come home to kill 2 cockroaches? Is she kidding? He gets in the car fuming. I can't believe it. What's the matter with her? He enters the apartment, and there she is again, up on the chair, pointing to a spot on the floor. There, over there. He walks over to 2 cockroaches, stomps on one, stomps on the second. He turns to his wife and says, I hope you're satisfied. I hope you're satisfied. There's no one who kills cockroaches just like me. Next time, call the exterminator. He didn't write that. He turns around, storms to the door, and heads right back to the base medrash. Who is right? He just says, the author says, it doesn't matter who's right. In marriage, they're both right. In the woman's worldview, she hates cockroaches. She's scared of them. The man, he's like, learn to deal with it. I'm in learning. I'm in the middle of learning. Is it worth mooning my learning for this? He says the question is wrong. They both have to realize they have different perspectives. A woman has a different perspective. He says if the man would think of it from the woman's perspective, it wouldn't be 2 cockroaches, it would be 2 German shepherds. He would also be scared of that. For a woman, it's like 2 German shepherds. So he goes on to speak about this concept called mind blind, which apparently is used for people on the autistic spectrum, that they can't really understand things from another person's perspective. What you think is what another person thinks. He uses an example. This is an interesting example. He says, creamer in the coffee. Most Shabbos mornings I get up pretty early. The house is quiet and I can learn undisturbed. When my wife wakes up, I bring her a coffee in bed. Oh, so sweet. So sweet of you, Raven Zion Schaefer. In bed? You didn't have to do that. Did you put one of those, I hope you put one of those things, what are they called? The handles on it so it doesn't burn her hands. This has been our routine for many years. Almost every time I prepare the coffee, I open the refrigerator and reach for the creamer and freeze, because my wife prefers her coffee with skim milk. Oh no. Now everyone knows that coffee tastes so much better with creamer, or at least full-fat milk. Who uses creamer? I'd rather have skim milk than creamer. It's just so much smoother. Skim milk doesn't even change the color. Of course it does. What are you talking about? And that's true. In my experience, I like my coffee that way. I want my wife to enjoy a good cup of coffee. So I automatically reach for the creamer to give her the best, even though my wife doesn't like a coffee with creamer. The odd part, he says, is that we're married for over 30 years, and I still have to consciously stop myself from giving her the creamer, because it's so obvious to me that coffee tastes better with thick cream. It's not simply that I like my coffee the way, it's that I think this is the way to enjoy coffee. This seems to be a quirk in human nature, the belief that your own experience defines reality. A critical ingredient in marriage is the recognition that what I perceive as normal is just that, my perception of what is normal, and your perception may be completely different. This is critical to learning to live together. Gives another example. This is really true. Women are always cold, men are always hot. So when they get engaged, the husband, he says to himself, right, I'll give in. You know, I won't turn on the air conditioner at night, even in the middle of the summer, because his wife is cold. And then after 6 months, he's sick of it. He says, what do you mean? I'm not going to turn on the air conditioning for myself just because she put on a blanket or something like that. All right. I'm done giving examples over here. Now, to me, this chapter, at least the first half, is repetitious. He's already talked about the difference between men and women. Men and women think very differently, and all these differences are between men and women. Right? Women are afraid of bugs. Men aren't. Cockroaches, at least. Women are warm. Don't like to be cold. Men are more. It's harder for them to be cold. It has to be really cold for men to be cold. They like the air conditioning on. Women like skim milk because it's good for their diet. Men don't really care. There's all difference between men and women, and he's mentioned before in the book that men are from Mars, women are from Venus. You can't understand each other. We're not going to understand each other. So I don't think this whole mind-blind thing, like from autism, that people can't understand a different person's view. You can't understand everyone's view because she's a woman and you're a man. That's really what it is. It's something to do with that. So that's point number one. I want to talk about one last example he gives over here. His and hers interpretation. I got a call from Yosef and Chani. They were married a little over a year and a half. Only over a year, and had a baby. I first spoke to them individually. She described him as the cruelest person I've ever met. He's so controlling. Everything has to be exactly his way. If not, he's furious. His description of her wasn't much better. You should hear the way she talks to me. She screams at me about every little thing. She's vicious. I asked each of them to describe what their relationship was like when they were dating. It was wonderful, she said. Gan Eden, he said. The strange thing was that they were a mature couple and they had dated for a long time. During that period, there was real chemistry between them. But the infatuation wore off almost as soon as they got married. Things got progressively worse until within a year, they were on the brink of disaster. As I started digging, their story became clear. He figured it out. And Sion Schaefer. Yosef owned a business. When he was dating Chani, he was distracted from work. Once they got engaged and began planning their wedding, his focus on his business dropped some more. By the time they got married, he had neglected his business for months, and things had started to slide. It was a major concern, and it needed attention. He explained to her that even though he would love to spend as much time with her as when they had been dating, his business had been slipping, and in order to get things back on track, he needed to spend more time on it. She understood, and everything was fine. But then the trouble started. He would come home fairly late each night. They would spend some time together, but not much. After a while, she began seriously suspecting that he didn't really like her. It's obvious, she told me. I spend 2 hours a night talking to my friends, and my own husband doesn't want to be with me more than 20 minutes. It's clear to me that he no longer likes me. I don't know what happened. She didn't give up, though. She said to him, maybe we should talk more. Maybe we should try to spend more time together. I would love to, he said, but you know my business needs my attention. Once I get things back on track, it will be different. She tried to believe him, but after a while, she couldn't help but feel that he just wasn't interested in her. It started eating at her. This isn't the man I dated. One night, he came home while she was on the phone and said, "Hi, Chani." "Hi, Yosef," she replied, went back to her phone call. He said to himself, "That's strange. I come home, and she has no time for me." The man, he comes home for 20 minutes a night to speak to her. She has no time for me. He went about his business, and then that tomorrow. When he came back, she was still on the phone. The same thing happened the next night. Pretty soon, the situation had worsened. "Hi, Chani, how are you doing? Is supper ready?" "No, I was busy." She wasn't trying to be malicious. She was very hurt. She felt rejected. She stopped behaving lovingly towards him. She was curt. Sometimes she was rude. Occasionally, she was downright nasty. "I don't treat her that way," he said to himself. "Why can't she speak respectfully? This isn't the woman I dated." He began distancing himself from her. When that happened, her hurt grew deeper. She lashed out. The cycle continued. By the time they called me, they were on the verge of divorce. This tragic cycle plays out whenever people allow their own experience to define reality. When she sees that her husband isn't spending time with her, she knows exactly what's going on. He's not interested in their marriage. Naturally, she'll feel hurt and offended. She won't be so nice and sweet anymore. When he sees that she's acting curt or even nasty, he knows exactly what is going on. She's trying to get him mad. She just likes to fight. Naturally, he distances himself further. They each translate the situation according to their own reality, as they are mind blind to their spouse's reality. An outsider might wonder why they both were so clueless. She should have sat down with him and said, Yosef, dear, it hurts me when you stay away. It hurts me when we don't talk. We're not bonding. We're not connecting. Why didn't you just explain it? And why was he so thick? Why didn't he just say, you're acting so different. Did I do something wrong? What's bothering you? They didn't do that because it never occurred to them that their spouse didn't understand their feelings. They were each so stuck in their perception of events that they never even considered there might be an alternate interpretation. And even though he had explained himself, it didn't matter. We become so locked into our way of thinking that words don't penetrate. Okay, it's a very sad story. I'm sure it happens quite often. Men are busy with their businesses. Some men are busy with their learning. It's a known fact. Women want to spend as much time as possible with their husbands. Ideally, a woman wants her husband in the house the whole day. Now, she knows it's a reality. The man has to spend his time to earn some money. But really, the truth of the matter is women want the man around all the day. Men don't want to see their wives all day. They like to see them ideally maybe for a half an hour for dinner. And then in the bedroom at night if they're in the mood. And especially, he talked about it at the beginning of the chapter, after 6 months of marriage. He said twice 6 months of marriage. Also in the case of the air conditioning. After 6 months of marriage, men are not interested sexually in their wives so much anymore. They prefer a different woman to change it up a little bit, which is the truth 100%. I'm not going to back down from that. Every man knows it deep inside, and if you don't know that deep inside, then you're lying to yourself, or you're distracted with your business, or you couldn't care less about, which is sad that you don't care about the main thing in the world, which is the most enjoyable thing in the world, which is the best thing in the world, which is the greatest gift that God gave to us, and you don't care enough to fight for it. But I will fight on behalf of myself, and if I win, everyone will enjoy the spoils. What's going on over here has nothing to do with what he's talking about. I feel bad that he still thinks he's writing a book, that he believes these are the issues over here, that they don't understand each other's worldview. She doesn't understand what it takes to run a business. He doesn't understand that women need to spend more time, that women want their man to spend more time with them. The problem over here, which I've said all along in this book, is that there's a problem in the bedroom. There's a big problem in the bedroom. Either one person is not getting what they want. The woman is not getting what they want. Or the man is not getting what they want. Usually the man after 6 months is not getting what he wants, no matter how good it is in the bedroom, because he wants someone else. Or at least a variety. He doesn't want to get rid of his wife, but he wants variety. And even if things are going okay in the bedroom, there's a problem with communication in the bedroom. And that often leads to a lack of communication outside the bedroom, because the hardest time it is to communicate is inside the bedroom. People are uncomfortable talking about that stuff. People are uncomfortable talking about that. So if you're not able to communicate there, you're not going to be able to communicate outside of the bedroom. And it's true, even if women have everything they need in the bedroom, they still want to spend time with their husbands. They don't like when their husbands come back at 1 o'clock in the morning. They really don't. But they can communicate with them. The reason they're not communicating is because they're uncomfortable, they're awkward in the bedrooms. They're not communicating there. They're not communicating outside the bedroom either. So those are the two main causes. For 98% of the problems in marriage, it's either people are not getting what they want in the bedroom, or even if somehow they are getting satisfactorily what it is in the bedroom, they feel awkward talking about their needs in the bedroom, which translates into a lack of communication outside the bedroom, where there's problems outside the bedroom because they don't exactly know how to verbalize, and they don't feel comfortable verbalizing their needs to their husband, because the woman verbalizing her needs to the husband and the man verbalizing his needs to the wife. And that's really the problem in all marriages. And it's definitely the problem in this marriage. Listen, this person who's staying in his business till 1 o'clock. I understand you want your business to succeed, but even more important than your business is your marriage. The first thing of primacy in a person's life is his marriage. More than his children, more than his business, right? Even if his business would grow sour, he'd still be married to the woman, right? If you ask the person, which would you rather, give up your business or give up your wife? The answer should be give up your business, not give up your wife. Your wife is your life. You know, if you're not married, the Gemara says, if you're not married, the Gemara says you're not someone who has. It's like someone who's dead. And if you're, you don't have children, you're like dead. If you're a poor person, you're also like dead. But businesses, if your business goes sour, there's other ways to earn money. But you know, if you get divorced from your wife, there's other women out there, but it's more difficult, it's more emotional to get married again, especially if you have kids from the first marriage. This guy had a kid already. So life is more complicated when you have problems with your marriage than problems with your business. That's just the way it is. And even if financially you're struggling, but you could communicate well with your spouse, right? That will make your financial burdens a lot easier to deal with, because you're able to cut back in the right way together, decide on what you want to spend on, and hopefully find another business or another job that will get your life back on track financially. The problem over here has nothing to do, and yes, the woman is being malicious over here. So the author says, of course not being like, yeah, she's taking revenge. He's not speaking to her, so she purposely doesn't get off the phone when he comes in. She's being 100% malicious over it. She's taking revenge on him. To be naive and think people don't take revenge. People take revenge all the time, and especially in marriage. If he's not treating her well, he gives her 20 minutes a day. You think she's going to start, just being a simp, and you know it's a one-way street, and she's going to basically do whatever he wants and get off the phone for him when he never comes home? No. She's taking revenge at him. Come on, even though the Torah says don't take revenge, we all do it. We all do it, and in a certain sense, you have to take revenge if someone's taking advantage of you. Now, I don't know all the details of the situation. Maybe the person, really could put, it was really extreme in his business life, and he had to put more time in. But a lot of times, people in business get carried away, and they're not interested in their wife, so they just focus on something they love, which is their business, which is making more money, which is why they put their time more in their business. They use it as an excuse, right? All of these things that he's a vicious person or he's a controlling person, they're all excuses. They're all pretexts. They're all different ways of experiencing, I am not getting what I want in the bedroom. That's as simple as it is. That's all marriage is. It's not complicated. The other 2% of marriages where there's ideological differences, where either they didn't realize when they got married they were ideologically different, or the husband or the wife changed in that marriage. And even though people will tell you, yes, that is grounds for divorce, in that case where one of the husband or the wife became less frum in the Jewish world, they're not shomer Torah mitzvahs, that's a ground for divorce. I disagree with that. I believe that's not true. 100% not true. If you're a caring and loving individual, and both the wife and the husband are caring and loving individuals, and you had a good marriage until that point, there's no reason it can't continue if you make compromises, work on things together, explain yourself. If you have a good relationship in the bedroom, and therefore good communication in the bedroom, that communication will go outside the bedroom. You'll be able to state exactly what you need and make a compromise. And you'll be willing to, a loving couple will be able to work through it together. There's no reason to ever get divorced. If people get divorced, it's because their excuses, because the reason people get divorced is because they're not having a good time in the bedroom. It's the way it is, and they're not communicating in the bedroom. That's all marriage really. It's not, the Gemara says in Masechtas Ketubos, everyone knows why a kala is nichsa l'chopa. Everyone knows why people get married. Why do people get married? At least in the firm world, you can't have sex until you get married. Now, in the non-firm world, you could have it. You could have casual sex, but the truth of the matter is, those people will tell you it's empty. It's empty. The reason the sex is better in marriage is because there's a commitment over there and there's love over there. I really believe in this concept of demisexual. It's really more enjoyable when there's love. The sex is better when you love the other person, when you have a relationship with the other person, when you have stability with the other person, when you have children with the other person. It's better. That's why I say I'm a very big proponent of polygamy over, just the common lifestyle in the non-Jewish world nowadays, a party lifestyle, where if you're a good man, you can get a different woman sleeping with you every other night. But it doesn't make a difference because it's empty, it's casual, there's no relationship over it. That's why polygamy is the desired thing, because you have a marriage to many different women, so you can enjoy real relationships and real sex with different women. And that's why polygamy is much better. The answer, you look on the internet, you look on TikTok, people are frustrated with the lifestyle. The man and the woman are frustrated with the lifestyle. They don't understand that you have to get married for meaning, but there's only two options, either monogamy or party lifestyle. And it's hard to choose which one. Each of them are terrible. Monogamy is terrible because you have to be the same woman for the rest of your life if you don't cheat on her. And party lifestyle is terrible because you're lonely, you have no stability in your life, and the sex is not as good. So what do you do? The answer to both of these questions is polygamy. That's just the answer. This is the truth. The Torah believes in it. The Torah speaks of it in Mesechus Yevamos, all over Chazal. It's a normal. That's the normal. The default is polygamy. Monogamy is for those men that have a problem having, it's hard for them to get a woman, or they're financially not capable of taking care of more than one woman. So then maybe monogamy is the best option for you. But there should always be, and just like when it comes to the economy, right? If you look at all the strong economies in the world, especially America, capitalism, right? Capitalism is what makes a strong economy, because a person has a desire, right, to get ahead in life because he can make more money for himself. In a communist country, your efforts don't mean anything. So when the most important thing, money is not the most important thing in the world. Love, sex is the most important thing in the world. And when a man feels that monogamy is the end, I can't get more than one wife, you know, he sort of loses care for himself and loses, he's dead, he dies. After 6 months of marriage, you're dead as a man because you have nothing to live for. If polygamy was on the table, right, it's like capitalism. The best man can get the most women, and can earn the most women, can woo the most women, can court the most women, and can financially take care of the most women. To the victor goes the spoils. That's what they say. So that's really what's going on over here. I don't know if he's going to talk about intimacy. I think at the end of the book he might talk about intimacy. I didn't get to there yet, but it's sad that he pins it on the same thing over and over. These are excuses. All of these words are excuses, excuses, excuses. The man's not coming home because he's not interested in the wife. And the woman is not happy because she's not getting in the bedroom what she needs. Very simply put, that's all you have to say. Hope you enjoyed today's lecture. See you in the next one.